Hi, good morning. I know I don't do like car readings so much anymore, but it's a full moon in Aries today. I think it's full Eastern Standard Time at 11:57 a.m. Or maybe it's 10:57. Today on September 29th, it's a full moon in Aries, and I felt this really intensely yesterday, and I knew the moon was waxing full because I always know where the moon's at, but I didn't know for some reason that it was going to be today, and I kind of have seen it in the sky being full. What's interesting to me is that a lot of people, when you're like, oh, the moon's almost full, they're like, it is full, look at it. And I'm like, it's not quite full. There's a day and a moment, in fact, of complete fullness, and then it begins to wane again. It's the beautiful transience of life and nature and cycles, right? These moments of like completion, and then it ebbs away like tides or menstrual cycles, or those mandalas they make in Southeast Asia where it takes hours with the sand in the streets and then they sweep them away. But I ended up recording a very long 3-hour long voice memo about the ascension on Earth right now. It was very, very channeled, and it is just a voice memo. So I thought that it would be beneficial for me to drop it into some type of editing thing where I'm using the audio, and I'll edit down certain parts because I start talking about it because I realized that I should probably make some type of musical composition around like a funny video that's something of like an acid trip cartoon like with music that involves my pets, just to explain certain concepts. It's just a playful project, really. So there's parts of it that aren't relevant to the collective, and so I'll be editing it down to the messages that are more pertinent and important for the collective energies. But if I were to communicate anything on this fine morning, it's Friday, full moon, Aries again, think about how many times the Emperor card has been coming out for my readings for the collective energies, and it's all about autonomy of the self and dominance possessed in a healthy, healed way, regardless of gender or sexual inclinations and anything like that. And full moons being completion and whatnot, but they are times to let go as well as affirm new things. And so we can access a lot of, or how people talk about, timeline shifting, quantum leaps. There are these moments in the energy where I know this can be harder for some people to believe in when they don't experience it on a certain level, because you're like, it doesn't matter. Like, there'll always be a full moon. Why is it different? It is different because it's like clockwork again, of things aligning. If we're all just particles spinning in space, there are moments that happen that create different energies the way that we feel them, even though our perception through our physical human bodies and energy fields isn't like, ooh, my sensors are tingling. Well, not everybody's are. Some people's are, and I believe more and more people will be able to access some type of connection to the subtle energies through psychic aptitude, of course, all possessed in different abilities. And a lot of people on Earth will never wake up to certain things. They just won't. They don't possess the ability or interest, rather, to even get into any of this, and that's fine. There is no changing of, like, one of the biggest things that I went off on last night was talking about the fundamental rift between people being belief system oriented. And I will edit it and post this, but just as a heads up, I talk about the Satan and Jesus thing and how it really, those are labels from a human perspective, but it is good and evil. It is, alien versus human, or angel versus demon, or like there's a lot of multi-dimensional truths that we simply we don't have a way to talk about them without using these labels, which is why those labels are sprinkled around in culture, swirled around in Hollywood, and spit back out as if to say everything but the truth. And so there's a lot of really good information in the recording that I'll be posting about that. I will say that it will require patience to kind of sit through the layers of it, and sometimes through the recording, it's like I get off on these tangents where I am anecdotally breaking down certain things that I've been through and why I, not with a great deal of specificity, but using those, as I always do, for examples to kind of extrapolate in these things that I'm getting and having come through. And I also had a really profound experience yesterday, because during my prayer, as I do, I'm always talking to myself, but sometimes I sit down in a meditative space and I'm like, okay, this is what I'm releasing tomorrow on this beautiful full moon, or I'll do this, whatever. I'm always talking to myself, and sometimes it spirals into more of a tangent thing where I'm like, I should probably record this, maybe. There's a lot of power in not recording things and just being witnessed by the universe and the angels and knowing that that's real. And so I did that, but I was getting into the recording of it. What? Let me think about this. Okay. I remember. So I was sitting on my couch and I was praying in a variety of ways, and I said I would like it at this time for my guidance system, ancestors, saints, angels, my star family, to begin to show yourself to me in clearer and clearer ways, because we have these levels up where I'm like remembering all these past lives and having all these things come online, but it's like that's still just the beginning. There's so much to be expanded through the human experience of allowing more spiritual basis for everything, right? Through everything you interpret and feel and see. And as you know, if you've been watching me for a little while or just joined me, like it is a big part of my life, and it's been a part of my life for a long time, just kind of allowing those layers to shed off and show me more about what the world is, and therefore what my life is meant to look like through what I am capable of and whatnot. So sitting there asking for that, and I specifically wanted to, I actually said I would like to know about, spirit animals, because they're in shamanic kingdoms, we do have spirit animals. And you could even think about dogs or things that have passed away. My dog from childhood sometimes visits me in her spirit form, and she's, because of time and space and in simultaneity of things, like she can be with other members of my family at the same time. It's just the way that archangels are universally accessible throughout space and time. Like I've had somebody be like, well, if you call upon them, what if they're busy? What if they're helping someone else? They're not limited to one access point in what we experience as our third dimension reality, because they exist outside of that. So that's hard to grapple with conceptually and philosophically, but I do talk about that as well. The really important thing about the recording that I'll be editing down and posting from yesterday is that it is my best attempt thus far at spending some time really laying out qualities of an integrated theory of everything, using some parts of the nature and the mathematics, the quadrivium, the harmonics of frequency and sound and tone, the symbology and archetypal stuff around the world, like the physical world, the way it's built through language, the history of human experience and the records of that, and the modification of those records and whatnot. And so shamanic realms, animals, you'll see people talking about like dragons and interdimensional places, and they're very real. Now I do talk about it in the recording, and I know it sounds silly to some, but if you have questions, email me as always. So I asked for my guides to show me themselves over the course of my next 2 weeks leading up to the next new moon, because it's nice to chunk up things into manageable, palatable sizes. And guess what? Nature does it for you. 2-week cycles all the time. And I say this all the time because I'm like, women, periods. But we're very keyed into those cycles that are very cosmic because our bodies function off of them. So, right when I affirmed that, I saw this beautiful passage through to a higher realm where I saw my 2 spirit dragons, and it's kind of beautiful. They're almost like ascended beings that are connected to who I've talked about in the past as Anaya and Anya, sisters from a past life, but also members of a star family guidance system that walk with me and give me advice. And they're connected to them. I received that as a psychic download, just a knowing, right? You understand things and you don't know why. These dragons, they were like Chinese ribbon dragons, like very long, like, ooh, what's his name? This is so funny. When I was a kid and I saw Spirited Away, I had a crush on the male lead, the anime cartoon. I had the biggest crush on him. He's the one that becomes a dragon. Why can't I remember his name? Because of his voice in the cartoon. Like as a child, I was like, I know that this is hot. I don't know why. He's a cartoon. And so, my dragons looked like that, and they were like iridescent shimmery ribbons with a fire or a flame. But interdimensionally, it's not the elemental fire as we know it on Earth. It's more of like a frequency that's very high and fast, so that it can almost like replicate the fire of like the energy. Like think about the violet flame with Saint Germain and Archangel Zedkiel, which by the way you can use to cast out things and clear yourself. But anyway, stay tuned for all of that. I'm at the Starbucks drive-thru and I gotta go. Bye. Have a great day.